Someone to Hold You Too Close by aloera. Katsuki stirs the eggs in the pan, swirling fast enough that they cook without getting brown. Kirishima doesn't like them cooked all the way through. The common room and the adjoining kitchen are alive with the sounds of almost 10 people going through their respective morning routines. Deku, Ida, and Hanagakare are chatting by the door, all of them waiting for their rides home. Sero and Kaminari are wrestling with Sero's backpack in the corner, attempting to close it over a giant wrapped present he says is for his older brother's birthday. With Katsuki in the kitchen are Uraraka making breakfast smoothie, Sue washing dishes, and Tokoyami sitting on Shoji's shoulders, rifling through the top cabinets for Dark Shadow snacks. Are we out? Shoji asks. We can go get some. I don't have anything else to do today. Dark Shadow makes a forlorn noise. I believe that may be necessary, Tokoyami says, as Shoji gently sets him down. Are you sure? It'll be fun, Shoji says. We can make a day out of it. We'll go to that cafe you like, Tokoyami says decisively, with the tiny coffee. Shoji sighs, but his eyes above his mask are fond. It's just a single espresso. Yes, that. Katsuki used to hate having people in the kitchen when he cooked. That hasn't changed, especially when the topic of conversation is something so fucking nauseating. Morning, man! Kirishima hooks his chin over Katsuki's shoulder, speaking loudly right into his ear. Katsuki flinches. Not from the touch, just the noise. Kirishima steps away. What's on the menu this morning? Scrambled eggs, Katsuki grunts. Turkey bacon. Ah, yum. You think you can spare some for me? Why ask when you're gonna whine until I give you some anyway? Kirishima laughs. Fine, fine, sorry. Hey, Kirishima, Uraraka calls. I made too much. You want some of my smoothie? I made it with your protein powder anyway. Oh, the Uraraka, that's yours. No, you gave it to me. That makes it, yeah, yours. She laughs, holding out a small cup, and he takes it anyway. Stands right beside her, hips bumping together. Sue, he calls. You want some? Uraraka made extra. Oh, sure, thank you. Sue wipes her hands on the dish towel and goes over. Drinks. Right from Uraraka's cup. Katsuki wonders how they can all be so comfortable with each other. How easy it is for Uraraka to make the offer, for Kirishima to extend the circle, for Sue to share a glass. He plates Kirishima's first, gives him the fluffiest piece of egg, the crispiest bacon. He sprinkles extra salt on top. Kirishima likes his food ridiculously salty. Katsuki's trying to train him out of the habit because he's not losing Kirishima to cardiovascular disease of all fucking things, but it's a Sunday morning. He can indulge him. Sometimes. What's the plan for today? Uraraka asks Kirishima. We're going hiking, right, Bakugou? I'm going hiking, Katsuki corrects. He invited himself. Kirishima's face creases. Right. Yeah. He pulls out his phone and taps on it. Hey, sorry guys, my sister needs me for something. I gotta take this. Katsuki puts his plate to the side and covers it. He plates his own food and waits. Uraraka finishes her smoothie. Katsuki washes it for her and puts away all the now dry dishes Sue had washed. The kitchen is empty. The common room is quiet. Everyone has either left for the day or is still asleep. Kirishima still isn't back. Katsuki texts him just to check if he's managed to break his back coming down the stairs. 7:25. Bakugou Katsuki. Are you coming or what? 7:28. Kirishima. Hey, sorry, I'm actually gonna go home today. They need me. Sorry. Have fun on your hike, though. Sorry if I kept you waiting. I know you usually leave earlier. 7:28. Bakugou Katsuki. Whatever. He debates telling Kirishima that there's food for him. He's probably going to eat at his mom's house. It's weird, obvious, too overly clingy for Katsuki to hover around him and make him food and force him to eat it, especially if he's busy with family stuff. Katsuki packs Kirishima's portion away and goes hiking on his own. Kirishima is acting weird. Here are the facts. Katsuki is sitting in the common room, working on his hero ethics essay proposal. Kirishima is doing the same, and not once has Kirishima come over to drape himself over him and ask what he's working on if he could please, pretty please, look over mine just for formatting, seriously. It's not just that. This morning, where Kirishima normally waits outside Katsuki's door so the two of them can go work out together before breakfast, Katsuki had opened the door to an empty hallway, figured Kirishima had done without him, and just stared at the empty gym like some kind of idiot. Later, when Katsuki had tried to confront him, instead of saying something normal like, "Oh, I slept in," or "Sorry, man, I thought you were already headed out," or, most likely, "Aw, did you miss me, Bakugou?" All Katsuki got was a lackluster, "I didn't think we were going today." It's their routine. It's the best possible way to start the day. What the hell? "Hey, Sero," Kirishima says, yanking him down to sit on the couch with him. "Mind reading this over for me?" Katsuki's jaw drops at the fucking audacity. Sero? Fucking tape face? Kirishima would rather ask him for help? He can't even read the question through his fuck-ass bangs. Sero's eyes flick over to Bakugo, but he doesn't say anything more and just nods enthusiastically, leaning into Kirishima's face as he scans his laptop screen. "This looks great, man. Maybe run it by Yaomomo or Todoroki if you're still worried? Is Todoroki still in his room?" "Should be. Yeah, you want me to text him?" "Nah, it's cool. I'll just go check." And Kirishima skips off to fucking Todoroki's dorm room. Katsuki sits there, feeling completely and utterly blindsided. "Sero?" he says faintly. Sero's head snaps up. He looks scared. Yeah? Are we fighting? You and Kirishima?" He frowns. I mean, did he say anything?" "No," Katsuki says, frustrated. He just... He jerks his chin. At the spot where Kirishima used to sit, but is no longer currently inhabiting because he just left to ask Todoroki for homework. Todoroki fucking Shoto? I don't think you need to think too deeply about it," Sero says, giving off the air that he's backing away from a very hungry lion in a very empty savannah. "Him and Todoroki have just been, like, hanging out more recently." "Hanging out more," Katsuki repeats. Sero's teeth are chattering. Good. He should be scared for throwing his fucking bullshit in Katsuki's face and expecting him to just accept it. "Don't shoot the messenger, man," he says shakily. "It's, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Maybe you should just go talk to him." Talk to him. Yeah, Katsuki can do that. He closes the laptop with a little more force than is maybe strictly necessary and stands up. Sero curls back into the couch, tucking his knees in as Katsuki storms past him to take the stairs. As the door swings shut behind him, he hears a small, "Oh, thank God." He runs into Kirishima in the hallway. Kirishima's dressed in gym clothes, hair tied back, texting someone on his phone. He's working out with someone. Someone who isn't Katsuki. Something ugly rears in Katsuki's chest. "Heading out?" Kirishima startles, looking up. He looks like a deer in headlights. Uh, yeah. Ida's doing circuits, and I've been trying to get my cardio up. So, you're working out with Ida, Katsuki says. "Yeah." "Okay." Kirishima shuffles his feet. "Cool, so, if that's all, do we have a problem?" Katsuki asks abruptly. And that's not right. He knows. Distantly. It's too harsh. It's grating. It's aggressive. Kirishima's going to think he's mad at him, which he is. He's fucking furious, but not quite at... It's too late. The words are out, and Katsuki watches Kirishima's face curl up into frustration. "What? This is the second day now. You keep flaking." "Dude, I'm literally dressed to head to the gym right now. We were supposed to go this morning." Kirishima sighs. "It was one morning, man. I can't take one morning off. You could have told me before. Did you even notice?" Katsuki stops. "What?" Kirishima's eyes dart around like a deer that just heard a branch crack. "Never mind. This is stupid. I'm just gonna... No, don't pussy out now." Katsuki's spitting mad. Something is squeezing at his lungs. "What the hell do you mean, did I even notice? Of course I noticed. I was just standing there like a jackass until I realized you weren't going to show." "Yeah, alright, fine. That wasn't cool of me. I hope you found someone else to spot... Spot... Is that what you think I'm mad about? You ignored me, you piece of shit. You've been ignoring me the whole fucking day. You don't ask for my help. You go to fucking Todoroki. Now you're training with Ida when you couldn't be asked to spend 40 fucking minutes with me in the morning. Why the hell does that bother you, though?" Kirishima demands. "Is it so insane to you that I might want to hang out with people?" "That's not... I don't have an issue with..." "You do, though. Cut the shit, Kirishima. You know damn well that's not what I'm fucking mad about. Just be a man and fucking tell me, do you even like me? Katsuki stares at him. He thinks stupidly that his ears must not be working right, that the consequences his doctors warned him about vis-a-vis using his quirk without proper ear protection has caught up to him. There's no way that Kirishima is asking him this. There is no fucking way that Kirishima, light of his fucking life Ijiro, glassy-eyed and raspy-voiced, looking desperate in his misery, is asking him this. Genuinely. Not as one of his stupid jokes that Katsuki has to bite his tongue so as to not laugh at. Are you fucking with me right now? He asks belatedly. Kirishima's face crumples. No, no, what? I'm trying to be serious here, Bakugou, because this is actually you actually matter to me, okay? You're really, really important to me. And you don't even. His voice breaks because he's crying. Katsuki made him cry. I like you, Kirishima says in a small, heartbreaking voice. I like you so much, man, and you just. Am I just embarrassing myself here? Because if I am, can you just tell me? Because I can't keep following you around like this when literally everyone can see that I. He sniffles, wipes at his eyes, seemingly angry at his eyes for expelling water. Hey, Katsuki says, a little scared. Don't, don't cry. Sorry, Kirishima hiccups. Sorry, I know that stuff like this freaks you out. I'm just gonna go now, okay? I'll leave you alone from now on. I'm really sorry. I thought that, I, I don't know. I'm sorry. And then he just brushes past him. Like that's the end of the conversation that Katsuki hasn't understood one fucking word of. Katsuki's reaching for him before he even thinks about it, hand snapping out to bite around Kirishima's wrist. Kirishima goes still. He looks at Katsuki's hand like it's a landmine. Katsuki should drop his hand. He should let go. He's probably holding on too hard. Kirishima's probably freaked out right now. If he wants to leave, Katsuki should just let him. I'm sorry, he says. And now Kirishima really does look freaked out, eyes going wide like Katsuki's got a gun pointed to his head. What? Katsuki lets go of his hand, takes a step back like that's gonna put Kirishima more at ease after whatever Katsuki's done to fuck up this badly. I don't. His voice sounds awful, even to his own ears. He has to cough and clear his throat before he can keep talking. I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry, okay? I I know I fucked up, but I'm bad at this. I don't know how to fix it. Please tell me how to fix it. Bakugo, are you? Kirishima peers at him, swaying closer. Are you crying? No, Katsuki says as a knee-jerk reaction. He doesn't cry. You are, Kirishima says. Katsuki swallows. You said you were going to leave me. And the truth of the matter is, Katsuki is a selfish son of a bitch. He understands, logically, that Kirishima is the best that the world has to offer. He understands that everybody wants him. He understands that it is only by some weird glitch of the universe that Kirishima has even looked in his direction, let alone lowered himself by being friends with Katsuki. Despite all of this, he wants Kirishima all to himself. He wants to be the person he confides in, and competes with, and comes home to. It's a big thing to ask for. He knows he isn't allowed to ask for it. That doesn't stop him from wanting. Can you just tell me why? He pleads, humiliated by his own incompetence. I'll. I can't figure it out on my own, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I can't be good enough, but if you just tell me. And he's really crying now, and it's still less mortifying in comparison to just how badly he's ruined this. Just tell me how to fix it. Please tell me how to fix it. Kirishima's staring at him, face pale. He looks like Katsuki's just come back from the dead. It's my fault, he says, finally. I'm the one that. It's just how you are. I get that. I thought I would be okay with it, but It's my fault. I'm the one who can't handle it, so don't worry, okay? Handle what? Katsuki demands. Just tell me. Do you think I'm stupid? I know who we are, and you're so. If something's wrong, it has to be my fault. So just tell me what I did so I can. I like you more than you like me, Kirishima blurts out. His face goes bright red, but he keeps talking. And that's fine, alright? It's not your fault, it's mine, but Sometimes it just feels like I'm just bothering you, and I know I text you too much, and I'm always clinging to you, and it just I know I should be able to take a hint when you never hug me back, but I stop, Katsuki says. Kirishima's jaw clicks shut. His chest heaves at odd intervals. Quiet, latent sobs. You don't annoy me, Katsuki says. Kirishima doesn't look at him. You're always saying I do, though. Yeah, but I didn't think you would believe you? Kirishima laughs roughly. Yeah, I know. I'm taking this too seriously. No, Katsuki snaps. You're not. I'm the stupid one, okay? I already told you you're. He clenches his fist, trying to elucidate every embarrassing, desperate, emotional thought that he was fully ready to keep to himself until he died, until it became apparent that doing so has only hurt Kirishima. I I like that you text me a lot, Katsuki chokes out, looking at the far wall instead of Kirishima's glassy eyes. If he looks at him, or really looks at him, he won't be able to get through this. And I like talking to you. You're funny and you make me laugh and you make me think and I he chokes on a laugh. I thought I was being so obvious. I thought that I was being so fucking obvious how much you what? Kirishima asks quietly. Like you, Katsuki says, feeling like he's saying something dirty. You like everyone and everyone loves you, but don't you get it? You're it for me. It's so fucking obvious. I don't get how you see it. I don't let anyone get away with the shit you do. But I don't want to get away with anything, Kirishima bursts out. I don't want to be the thing you put up with. I don't want you to tolerate me. I'm not tolerating you, Katsuki snaps, frustrated. I've just never had a fucking friend like you before, and I don't know what I'm allowed to do, alright? He stares at the wall, chest heaving. Kirishima stands in his peripheral, a blur of red. As Katsuki catalogs the beige paint, the small chip from the time he slammed Kirishima's hardened head into it, the blur becomes closer and closer until Kirishima is all he can see, in sharp, beautiful focus. What do you mean? Kirishima asks. Aloud? What do you mean? Katsuki glares at the floor. I'm not a good person. Don't argue with me or try to convince me otherwise. I'm not. And I've never had someone good as a friend. And I didn't want to fuck it up by, you know. Except he'd fucked it up anyway, so that's all moot. If Katsuki wasn't busy crying his eyes out, he'd have to laugh. It is, objectively, hilarious. One thing he will always be good for is ruining his own life. I don't know, though, Kirishima says. Explain it to me. Katsuki would quite literally rather gauge out his eyeballs with a plastic spoon, but this is Kirishima offering him an olive branch, telling him how to fix what he broke. Katsuki knows how to recognize an open hand. Kirishima's the one who taught him how. What you said before, he says, hesitantly, about clinging to me. I I do the same thing, just in my head. In his head, he asks Kirishima to go hiking with him, and Kirishima says yes, and Katsuki shows him his favorite paths, and they both marvel at the way the sun falls between the leaves. In his head, they cook together, Kirishima smashing garlic beneath his palm, grinning with pride when it falls apart into dismembered cloves. In his head, Katsuki doesn't second guess slinging an arm around Kirishima's shoulders, or fixing his tie, or pulling him into an easy hug at the end of the day. In his head, he reaches out like it's nothing. Kirishima looks at him, and Katsuki sees the wheels turning. Like me? He asks, and his eyes are shining. Really? Worse than you, Katsuki admits. His voice breaks. So much worse, Kirishima, you have no idea. But of course he has no idea, because Katsuki didn't tell him. I'll I'll be better, he says, desperately. If you let me, I promise, I'll fix it. I'll tell you what I want, I'll text more, I'll pay more attention, I'll I'll do anything you want. Kirishima's chin quivers. He looks down, lips pressed together. I don't want to bother you, he says in a small, quiet voice. It's not like that, Katsuki says, reaching for his hands on impulse to pull him in, just to make him see. His hands hang midair. Kirishima looks up at him. Katsuki inhales and takes hold of him. I I want this, he says. I don't know how to ask for it, but I want it. And if you think you could be patient with me, I could learn how to show you. He stares at their clasped hands. His knuckles are white. Kirishima laughs. He shakes their hands a little, grins up at Bakugou. Well, for starters, he says, I'm not going anywhere, so you don't need to hold on so tight. Katsuki exhales, drunk on relief. Thank you, he breathes. I Thank you. I'm sorry. Hey, stop, Kirishima says, pulling him closer. Katsuki goes willingly, helplessly. It's all good, man. Seriously. We had a fight, we talked it out. We're all good. Okay, Katsuki says. Now what? Now, Kirishima looks at him, tilts his head, worries at his lip like he wants to say something, but he doesn't know if he's allowed. Katsuki looks at him, and he smiles. You wanna hug me? Yeah, Katsuki blurts out. Can I? Yeah, here, come on. Kirishima is smiling ear to ear, and Katsuki wants to be closer to it. His smile. So he moves forward, feet shuffling in little steps. He's looking at his feet, so he notices when his shoes bump against Kirishima's and there's nowhere left to walk. And now, Kirishima murmurs, you just put your arms around me wherever you want. Where do you like it? Kirishima makes a noise like he's choking. Um, People usually do the waist or the shoulders. Katsuki thinks about that and decides on Kirishima's waist because it's closer and he's always wondered what it would be like to touch him there, pull him close, lock him against his body so he couldn't move, so he just had to stay with Katsuki, stuck to him like tree sap. His arms loop around, and Katsuki maybe gets a little excited to be so close, just tugs him forward, all impulse, and Kirishima falls into him with a little oof, his own arms encircling Katsuki's ribs. Wow, Kirishima says, a laugh coloring his speech. You really wanted this, huh? Katsuki's face burns. Kirishima squeezes him. Hey, I didn't mean it like that. It just surprised me, that's all. I like it too, man. I wanted it too, okay? Katsuki holds him tight. Kirishima's waist is warm beneath his hands. He can feel the muscle of his torso, his chest, his arms pulling Katsuki close. I like this, he mumbles. I want to do this more with you. Kirishima presses his face into Katsuki's neck. His face is warm. Yeah, he says quietly. Let's do that. It's a little awkward at first, and 100% of that is due to Katsuki, who is incapable of getting his shit together and just stands near Kirishima like an ornamental duck until he opens his arm and asks if Katsuki would mind giving him a hug. Katsuki doesn't mind. Katsuki, in fact, considers it the highlight of his day, every time. Kirishima doesn't seem to mind Katsuki's awkwardness, though. If he does, he doesn't say anything. He just keeps holding his arms out, welcoming Katsuki and his inability to be a normal human being. Katsuki really loves him. Wait, what? Fuck. Bakugou, are you alright? Katsuki blinks. They're in the library. His notebook lies open in front of him, a streak of graphite smearing across the page. His pencil is bent at an odd angle in his fist. I'm fine, he says, knee jerk. You want to take a break? Katsuki looks over Kirishima's notebook. He's made it through exactly 2 practice problems. What, and let you slack? Absolutely not. What? No, This is for you! Call it whatever you want. Finish this set and maybe we can take a break. Kirishima bumps his shoulder against Katsuki's. Man, you really run a tight ship, you know that? Katsuki doesn't respond, zeroing in on that small touch. Kirishima has done it so easily. A second or two of contact and then back to studying. Not a hug, not pressed together at every point, not syncing their breathing, their heartbeats. But it's nice. Could Katsuki do that too? He can't do a shoulder bump. It'll jostle Kirishima's hands and make his already messy writing borderline illegible. Their chairs are already pressed close together. Kirishima's knee is only a few inches away from Katsuki's. Katsuki shifts in his seat, sits slightly wider, lets his knee rest up against Kirishima's. It feels a little like there's a hole burning its way through his pants, up his leg, and strangling his heart. But in a good way. Kirishima doesn't say anything, but when Katsuki turns to look at him, he's smiling down at his page, cheeks all bunched up. Katsuki feels warm in his chest. He experiments after that, tries to find casual ways to touch Kirishima that are non-invasive. Most people don't have to break their heads about anything like this. Katsuki's pretty sure Kaminari doesn't perform trigonomic equations in his head before he elbows Sero after whatever they deem to be a funny joke. Still, it's better than standing an arm's length from Kirishima and letting everyone else touch him while Katsuki hovers on the outskirts like some kind of diseased toad, so he keeps up with it. When Kirishima makes him laugh, he smacks his shoulder. Maybe a little too hard because Kirishima starts hardening his shoulder right before he makes a joke, but he seems to laugh even harder at Katsuki wringing out his hand, so Katsuki doesn't stop. Kirishima hits him back too when one of Katsuki's quips startle him into laughing so hard he tears up. It's reciprocal. It's nice. It means Kirishima wants to touch him back, which Katsuki has already known, but he does it even more now. He slings his arm around Katsuki's shoulder when they're walking, leans on him when they're standing still, pokes at his thighs with his socked feet when they're sharing the couch. Every time Katsuki marvels at how exactly he was ever planning to live without this. They walk closer now on their way to class, so close that their hands brush. Katsuki thinks every day, every hour, about just reaching out, bridging the gap, taking Kirishima's hand in his. He'll do it one day, he knows. One day, he'll reach out, and he'll take Kirishima's hand in his as easy as breathing. For now, their pinkies brush, and it doesn't make Katsuki stumble. Baby steps. Katsuki barges into Kirishima's room. What's taking so long? We're gonna be late. Sorry. Kirishima's hopping around his room, attempting to put his shoe while also tying his tie. I was up late talking to my sister and I slept in. Just give me, like, 2 sec. Bakugo? Just ask for help next time, dumbass. Katsuki grumbles, yanking his tie into a clean knot. He straightens it around Kirishima's collar, and his fingers brush at the thin skin of his neck. He flinches back, ready to apologize, but Kirishima's not moving away. So Katsuki keeps going, flattens the tie down over his chest, frowns. Are you flexing? No, Kirishima says, face red. Right. You can do your shoes now, right? Uh-huh. He locates Kirishima's uniform jacket slung over the back of his chair, arms grazing the floorboards. Katsuki should vacuum more if he's so dead set on leaving all his clothes on the floor. Thanks! Kirishima grabs it from him, slipping into it himself. We can go now. Sorry for keeping you. Go to sleep on time, Katsuki says. You'll get dark circles worse than Shinso's. Hey, but he's still pretty good looking, isn't he? Katsuki's head whips around so fast the papers on Kirishima's desk rustle. Kirishima looks like he's trying not to laugh. You don't think so? No! Katsuki hisses and stomps outside, pointedly ignoring Kirishima's giggling. A sound that, had one never heard it before, one might incorrectly identify as the sound of birdsong, or wind chimes, or cool, clean running water. Kirishima starts coming to him after that, though, with the undone tie around his neck. You do it better, he says, which is funny, because I've never even seen yours. Katsuki's fingertips graze against his neck again and again and again, and he relearns yearning every morning, wondering what it would be like just once to press down. Kirishima's hair is growing out. Katsuki doesn't notice how long it's gotten until one evening when he ambles down to the common room after a shower. His hair is blow-dried, but still a little damp, and it goes down past his shoulders. His roots are grown out too, a starburst of black taking over his scalp. He looks so cozy in his pajamas, skin still flushed and glowy from his shower, and Katsuki just needs to touch him. Squeeze him as tight as he can, maybe put him in the pocket of his hoodie and just carry him around everywhere. It's unbelievable that someone as big and tall and muscular as Kirishima can look so cute. Katsuki had been reading a book on the couch, idly listening to the dulcet tones of Deku and Uraraka arguing over how much soy sauce, condiment, not person, to put into their seaweed soup. At the sight of Kirishima, though, he instantly understands that reading will not be possible for the rest of the night. Come here, he mumbles, dragging Kirishima down between his knees. What's up? Kirishima asked, folding into place. His knees come up. Kaminari's walking in just then, and he extends them just in time for Kaminari to trip, arms windmilling before he finds solace in Ida steadying him. Ida! Kaminari squawks, clinging to him. He's perfectly stable. His hands don't need to be gripping Ida's chest. Did you see that? You have to regulate this. I mean, that was a real, true attempt on my life. The last person who came that close was Shigaraki. His face changes then to something more pensive. What am I looking at here? Nothing, Kirishima says. So you're just sitting there for fun. I'm braiding his hair, Katsuki says. Kaminari looks skeptical. Do you even know how to braid? He does a crazy Dutch braid, Kirishima says. Can you give me two? Sure, Katsuki says, and, under Kaminari and Ida's incredulous gazes, begins parting Kirishima's hair. Here's the secret. Katsuki knows how to braid because Katsuki knows how to do everything. There is, however, no way for Kirishima to know that. Katsuki vows to wow him. He's never touched Kirishima's hair before. It should be dry, fried, and brittle from all the bleach. Instead, it's soft as a fucking kitten, and Katsuki loses himself just running it through his fingers. Why is your hair so soft? Dude, I don't break the bank on all those hair masks for nothing. They're working, Katsuki agrees. He weaves the left hand of Kirishima's hair into a Dutch braid. It's a little easier than would normally be, given the slight dampness of his hair. Maybe it'll be curly when he takes his out. Katsuki wants to see that. Wait, Bakugou can braid? Uraraka's poking her head out of the kitchen, eyes wide. Wow, that actually looks good! Obviously, it's not hard. So you can do mine then? No, Kirishima says. Katsuki goes quiet. He had, of course, been about to tell Uraraka to go to hell, but he's a little surprised that Kirishima is saying no. Kirishima's stuttering. I mean, he can't, tonight, because he's busy with mine, and we are hitting the gym after. So, you just showered, though? The grind never stops, Katsuki grunts. Maybe you'd be able to bench more if you were more disciplined. Uraraka draws back, outraged. Hip thrust half my PR and then talk. You're both strong, guys, Kirishima placates. Don't even get me started on you, Uraraka says. I don't know what you're talking about. Stop distracting him, Katsuki snaps. He's like a dog. He looks at you when you talk, and then the braid gets messed up. Deku's panicked, reedy voice floats from the kitchen. Uraraka, is the soup supposed to be this color? Uraraka cringes and disappears to help him. Or, more likely, to fuck the soup up even more. Katsuki focuses back on Kirishima's hair. The ombre of the roots bleeding into the dyed hair is pretty. If he took a picture and posted it on Pinterest, it'd probably go viral. How's it looking, Chief? Kirishima asks. Pretty, Katsuki says without thinking. Yeah? Can you take a picture? When I'm done. He finishes the first braid, and, holding it with one hand, fishes in his pocket for a hair tie. Oh shit, I can go get a hair tie. Nah, I got it. Kirishima's voice sounds funny. You just keep those on you? You're always losing yours. You're so nice to me, Kirishima says softly. Katsuki doesn't know what to say to that, so he says nothing, ties off the braid, and starts on the second one. Kirishima pushes his head up into Katsuki's hands when he rakes his hands through the roots. Maybe he doesn't realize he's doing it, but it means it feels good, doesn't it? It means he wants more. So Katsuki scratches lightly from his hairline back down to the crown of his head. Kirishima's shoulders dip, like he's letting down some invisible weight. Katsuki smiles to himself and continues. He rubs little circles into the crown of Kirishima's scalp. He starts on the second braid eventually, tugs tight enough so the braid looks clean, but not enough for Kirishima's scalp to hurt. Ties it off, takes a picture. Kirishima's quiet for a second. Wow, my roots are really grown out, huh? I didn't realize. It looks nice. Fucking hell. With the braid, it looks cool. You think so? I like 'em. Katsuki coughs. Your roots. They don't look bad or anything. Oh, Kirishima's quiet. Thanks, man. And and thanks for braiding them. That was really nice of you. As if he was the one who'd asked. Katsuki's the one that dragged him close just because he needed to touch him, needed to have his hands on him, solid and warm, just to know that this was something he could have. He almost laughs. What does Kirishima have to be shy about? Katsuki is the one who's ludicrously in over his head hungry. Katsuki realizes, with a strange sense of warning, that now that he's finished the braid, Kirishima will have to stand up. He should have taken longer. No, that's insane. He'd had him down there for at least 30 minutes. Any longer, and Kirishima's legs would have cramped up, and then he would be in pain, and probably tip over and bruise his stupid face when he tried to walk. And all for what? Because Katsuki needs to be touching him at all times? Wow, that's gorgeous, Kirishima, Uraraka says, popping back into view, a bowl of soup in her hands. Guess we found another thing Bakugo's good at. How long's the list getting? Kirishima asks, tipping his head back. You need to clip your nose hairs, Katsuki tells him, even though his nostrils are clear and unobstructed. Kirishima's face, poised like this, lifted up for the taking. He has to fight himself to not just hold his face in his hands and oh my god, have you seen those waxing kits? We should do those. The what? Waxing kits. For your nose hairs. I don't have nose hairs. I can see them from here, man. Just 'cause they're blonde doesn't mean they don't exist. Katsuki locks an elbow around his neck and pulls. Kirishima laughs, loud and wheezing, slapping at his arm to get him off. Katsuki lets go once the wheezes start outnumbering the laughs. Kirishima coughs a few dry, sick cat coughs before pulling out his phone and typing in nose hair waxing. I swear this guy got famous just from waxing his nose hair. Dude, think of all the food we could buy with this money. And the actual kit is only like 2,000 yen online. I can't think of anything I want to do less, Katsuki says. We made enough for everyone, Deku says, holding an unnecessarily large pot aloft. Come try. Maybe one thing. Do you actually want to work out? Katsuki asks as they head upstairs. His stomach is eerily still after whatever Deku and Uraraka had concocted. It had tasted fine, more or less, but Katsuki doesn't trust anything the two of them cooked together. Kirishima winces. Not really. Want to just hang in my room? Sure. Katsuki flops down on Kirishima's bed while Kirishima marvels at himself in his mirror, turning his head at all sorts of angles to see the braids better. There's a proud smile tugging at his mouth, attempting to break free. Man, you've been holding out on me. I can't believe you never told me you knew how to braid. You never asked. Because, okay, whatever. You're doing this all the time from now on. Sure, whenever you want. Kirishima spins around. Really? You mean that? Yeah, he squints. Why are you acting weird? Kirishima sits at the edge of the bed. He stares at Katsuki for a moment, biting his lip, and then Katsuki sees the moment where his shrunken brain is hit with some dumb fuck idea, and he launches himself on top of Katsuki, punching every ounce of air out of Katsuki's lungs. What the fuck is wrong with you? He manages to choke out after his heart rate has mostly stabilized. Kirishima beams at him, eyes like crescents. Felt like it? Katsuki reaches up. Kirishima watches him curiously as he tugs at the strands of hair tucked in at his temples and pulls them out so they flop over his forehead. Can I ask you something? Katsuki asked. Yeah, hit me. Why did you tell Uraraka I couldn't braid her hair? Kirishima's face shudders. I mean, did you want to? Obviously fucking not. You're just always telling me to get involved with the class. Kirishima's not looking at him, eyes flickering to the far wall, the headboard, anywhere but Katsuki's face. Well, I just figured you wouldn't want to, is all. Kirishima. Kirishima drops his head down and burrows into Katsuki's neck. Katsuki holds him close, arms sliding over his back. Kirishima hums, wiggling even closer, like a cuddly little caterpillar. This is so stupid, he groans. His breath tickles Katsuki's neck. God, you're gonna think I'm, like, insane and creepy. I already think that. Bakugou! Just tell me. Kirishima just shoves his face deeper into Katsuki's neck. Katsuki can feel how warm his face is. Kirishima wears his heart on his sleeve. Every emotion, no matter how small, emanates out of him. Katsuki is grateful for it. It makes it easier to know how to take care of him. It's stupid, Kirishima repeats, but I want to be the only one that you do this stuff with. Right, Katsuki says, disbelieving, because I just go around all day braiding everyone's hair and asking them for hugs. Well, I mean, I know I'm the first, but God, see, I told you, it's so stupid. It sounds like I don't want you to have any other friends. Katsuki understands why he's hidden his face in Katsuki's neck now. It's easier to have this conversation when they're not looking at each other. He splays one hand across the broad expanse of Kirishima's back, fingers sloping over the muscle, and stares up at the ceiling. You're my first real friend, Katsuki says, and you know that. Yeah, and the other jackasses in our class are tolerable. Right, but he closes his eyes, rubs tiny circles into Kirishima's back with his thumb. The fabric of his shirt is thin, and his body is warm. Katsuki wonders how warm he is under, how soft. Is it too much? If he tells him? The words are too big for his mouth. You're the first person that I've ever wanted to touch like this. The only one I ever have. But Kirishima is clinging to him, and his face is warm, and every time he exhales, his lips ghost over Katsuki's pulse. The the way that I feel about you, Katsuki says, hesitantly. The things that we do, I don't want that with anyone else. Only you. Oh, Kirishima says. Okay, good. Me too. Katsuki barks out a laugh. You're so fucking awkward. Excuse? Don't be mean to me. I just poured my heart out to you. And you, okay, are just as bad. Seriously, I mean, you just said. He breaks off into a whine, one hand flapping around his smack uselessly in the vague direction of Katsuki's face. The issue arises when whatever feeling possessed Katsuki that evening starts to crop up more and more often. He'd thought maybe it was restricted to a specific Kirishima, the post shower, ruddy face, soft looking Kirishima, but it's every Kirishima. All Kirishimas. They sit down to eat lunch, and Katsuki has to sit pressed flush to Kirishima, one line of contact from their shoulders to their knees. He's forced himself to become ambidextrous, if only so that his elbows don't bump against Kirishima as he eats with his right hand. In the library, when Katsuki used to be able to focus wholeheartedly on his work no matter the circumstance, now he can only work if Kirishima is sitting right beside him, so close that the pages of their notebooks overlap. Katsuki walks in on him in the washrooms once and has the absurd thought of asking to hold it, which is illegal, first of all, and also kind of the thing he actually wants to put himself in a straitjacket for. One night, Kirishima drags Katsuki down to spar. They've already spent an hour at the track and another at the gym, but Katsuki's always ready to fight, and so is Kirishima. God, Katsuki really does love him. Kirishima slams a fist into his jaw. Katsuki spits out blood. His tongue is bleeding, but it wakes him up enough to wrestle Kirishima to the ground. No quirks, just soft skin. That's what his fingertips meet. Kirishima is shirtless because he's been sweating too much. Katsuki's hands touch his bare torso, his muscled arms, and he gets lost in it. His hand spasms. Pop. Tiny explosions spark all over Kirishima's body. Kirishima giggles. Dude, that tickles. Stop it. Like Katsuki's doing it on purpose. Like he isn't humiliatingly out of control, thrown through time, back to when he was 4 and didn't know how to turn his detonators off. His hands keep popping. Kirishima's whole body is shaking, head thrown back, the column of his neck bared and slick with sweat. Dude, seriously, stop it! Katsuki rolls off him, shoves his hands into the ground. It muffles the explosions until they peter off. You're not allowed to tell anyone about that, Kirishima says, sitting up. His voice is still breathy from the laughter. I'm telling everyone, Katsuki says. How the hell are you a hero student and ticklish? You're not? Fuck no. Kirishima, don't you fucking dare. Kirishima's already moving, tackling him to the ground and shoving his sweaty fingers all over Katsuki. His armpit, his ribs, his stomach. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, stop it, shitty Shima, swear, I'm gonna fucking... He can't talk properly between the uncontrollable shrieking laughter slapping at Kirishima. As a last-ditch effort, when he can't take it anymore, they drink a lot of water over the past 5 hours, and he might actually piss his pants if Kirishima doesn't leave him the fuck alone. He puts all of his strength into shoving Kirishima the fuck off of him and slamming him into the ground, palms pressed flat against his chest. Kirishima whoops. That was the cutest thing I have ever seen in my life. Are you kidding? I'm telling everyone. Holy shit. Katsuki just stares at him. Like this. Red-faced, teary-eyed, with wild euphoric laughter that spills out of his throat. Kirishima is beautiful. The kind of beautiful Katsuki used to think only existed on the pages of some deluded mangaka, but it is, by some miracle, alive and breathing, chest heaving beneath Katsuki's sparking hands. Kirishima's laughter dies off. He looks up at Katsuki, his wide, glassy eyes framed by a fan of dark lashes. Katsuki's hands move without his permission, hungry to feel, to touch, and hangs in midair, fingers already curled, nail beds a hairbreadth away from Kirishima's cut cheekbone. You can, Kirishima coaxes. You know that. I can't, Katsuki says roughly. Kirishima looks confused for a second. His eyes search for Katsuki's face. Katsuki looks away, as if it will hide it, but maybe it's better to stare at him head on, and looks back just in time to see Kirishima's mouth settle into a content smile. A blaring siren goes off in Katsuki's head. Kirishima's voice is sweeter than honey. Bakugou. Katsuki moves to get off him. Kirishima's hands clasp down on his hips, harden just a little, weighing him down. In that voice, that sweet voice that beckons Katsuki like an outstretched hand in a cool summer sky. Katsuki. Katsuki's hands pop. Kirishima's eyes crinkle. You can take whatever you want. You know that, right? Not this, Katsuki pleads. It's cruel to keep him balanced on the knife's edge. He's so close. He knows. He knows. Kirishima props himself up with one hand, the other still shackling Katsuki's hip. Anything, Kirishima says, squeezing Katsuki's hip. You get anything you want from me. You don't know what you're asking for, Katsuki says helplessly, one last-ditch effort before he ruins this good thing, this precious thing. Kirishima, fuck, I'm really trying here. Please, I can't. He's so close that Katsuki can smell his sweat. I can't, okay? Is it really that much for you? Katsuki's jaw drops. Yes! Why do you think I... That's a lot of weight to carry, Kirishima murmurs. Come on, give it to me. Don't you think I'm strong enough to handle it? It's not... Katsuki tries and fails to summon righteous indignation. He slumps forward into Kirishima, gives himself that 1 inch, breathes in the scent of him. I'll ruin it, he whimpers. You'll ruin what, baby? Yujiro, you're too fucking important to me. I can't ruin this because I need you so fucking much. He can hear Kirishima smile. You won't ruin it, I promise. Katsuki sits back, looks at him properly, searches every inch of his face, and comes up empty. It's all beautiful sincerity. It always is. Come on, Kirishima says, tugging at his hip. Take what you need. And Katsuki, like every stray, starving dog brought in from the cold and offered a warm, bloody meal, says his prayers, counts his lucky stars, and bites. Kirishima tastes sweet, like his pre-workout. Katsuki licks it out of the corners of his mouth, delving deeper. Wants to eat him inside out, drink him down. Wants to live off of him. Kirishima's hands move up his waist. Squeezes, and he hasn't taken down his hardening, and the spark of pain is like heroin. Katsuki whimpers into Kirishima's mouth, pressing closer to him, hands almost crushing his jaw. Am I hurting you? Kirishima mumbles, between kisses. No, don't stop. Please don't. I won't. Shh, Kirishima says, pulling him closer. Come here, come on. Katsuki does. He claws at Kirishima's skin, nails digging in, like he'll be able to peel him open and crawl inside. I want you to touch me with both, he says, pulling at Kirishima's supporting arm. Kirishima laughs, but lays down, letting Katsuki press him deep, deep into the floor. Katsuki kisses him almost violently, now that he knows that Kirishima won't fall. One of Kirishima's hands sneaks up Katsuki's shirt, trailing heat up his torso. It feels like open heart surgery. Katsuki feels like an old, forgotten language rising up after a millennia in the throat of a new speaker. Tell me I can have this, he begs. From now on, whenever I want, I I need it now. I'm sorry, but I really need it. This whole time, Kirishima marvels. His fingers sloped over Katsuki's collarbone, thumbprint branding the hollow of his throat. Every time you stared at me or grabbed at me, this is what you really wanted? I would have taken anything, Katsuki confesses softly. Kirishima draws back, eyes widening, before his whole face opens up. Needed, then, he says. This is what you needed. Katsuki kisses him, one long, slow press. Curls his tongue, pressed flat against the plush swell of Kirishima's bottom lip. They come away from it panting, foreheads pressed together, inhaling each other's air. Fuck, Katsuki, Kirishima says. His voice is hoarse and beautiful. Katsuki presses a hand to his chest, feels his heartbeat thunder beneath his palm. The light of the gym flickers off. Kirishima startles, his head turning. They're motion sensors, Katsuki says, nosing at his jaw. It's 'cause we're not moving, and it's after hours. Right, yeah, Kirishima says, breath hitching. Should we go back up? You said I could have you whenever I wanted. I, yeah, I did, but in the dark, he's shyer, a little smaller, like a bud on the cusp of blooming. He's so sweet. Katsuki feels like a hummingbird drunk on nectar. That familiar feeling comes over him. His fingers dig into the muscle of Kirishima's shoulders. I'm not done yet, he breathes. Let me take what I need. And Kirishima, perfect, perfect boy that he is, lets him.